Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Adina. In this video, I really want to talk about intuition and developing your intuition and really developing that trust within yourself. And this really goes hand in hand with self-discovery and self-development and developing self-trust. And trusting your intuition is so important when you are developing that self-trust, because then you start to trust the choices that you're making. You start to trust, how you're feeling inside. So if you align with my energy and you enjoy this content, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Developing your intuition and strengthening your intuition can be quite challenging because this is something that we were not taught growing up. More parents nowadays are becoming more aware and conscious. You know what I mean? Of, intuition and feelings. And so I feel like now with conscious parents, they are kind of starting to teach their children about this. But for us millennials or Gen Z or Gen X, this is not something that we were taught. We were not taught to trust ourselves. Usually, which, and we were definitely not taught to trust our intuition or how we were feeling or even taught about energy. And so your intuition is basically the energy around you speaking to you, right? We all have an energetic field. It's an aura or an electromagnetic field, however you want to whatever you want to call it. I think the scientific term is electromagnetic field, but you also hear a lot of spiritual people, talk about your aura. That's what it is. It is your energy field. It is 8 to 10 feet outside of your physical body. And it's constantly communicating with you, to keep you safe. So, and I'm sure you've all felt, when you go in a room or you've entered a space or you have connected with somebody and you feel, you get goosebumps, or sometimes you can get nauseous, or you get that gut feeling where it doesn't feel something's off. Or some people, experience heat or, red blotches. Our intuition all shows up for us each differently. And so developing and having an understanding of how your intuition really connects to you and speaks to you is the first step. And you can do this by having the awareness. Awareness is key. Paying attention to what is showing up for you, paying attention to how you are feeling in certain situations and when you are connecting to other people. One thing that really helped me was journaling, having the awareness of how I felt during interactions and certain situations, and paying attention to those feelings and writing about them, writing about the experience and writing down how I felt. By doing that, you start to develop the awareness and understanding of what these feelings mean for you. And you also are able to reflect back so you can see how it all plays out for you, whether the way you were feeling and whether your intuition was right. So this really helps with developing that trust, understanding how your intuition works for you, and strengthening that muscle, because your intuition and these energies and working with them, this is a muscle, and so this is something that needs to be strengthened just like everything else. So when you do these practices and you start to develop that muscle and strengthen that muscle, you eventually develop that strong intuitive knowing, and you eventually start to trust your intuition when these energies are speaking to you, when your intuition is connecting with you, or when your intuition is popping up to say, this isn't really in alignment with you, or it clicks and it is in alignment with you. Now, let's talk about that click, because it can show up for all of us differently. This is where you just know something's right for you, whether it is a gut feeling, whether your heart warms up. However, and this is why you have to have that awareness. This is why you really have to pay attention to how these energies, how these feelings are showing up for you. So by having the awareness, which awareness is key, it really is so important, because when you have the awareness, you are able to tell and pay attention to when you are deviating from your baseline. So your baseline is your natural state, how you normally feel. And so when you start to feel things come up for you or feel a certain type of way, you pay attention to that. You have the awareness to know, what does that mean for you? Because it's going to mean something different for me than it is for you. We all have our own way of connecting to our intuition, of really picking up on these signs, communicating with them. And so This is why having awareness is really key, and paying attention to when you deviate from your baseline. So having the awareness and journaling every day and really implementing that into your daily practice can help so much in developing your intuitive knowing, developing what these feelings mean for you, even having an understanding of how your intuition is, how you can connect to your intuition, what is in alignment with you, what is not in alignment, and how does that feel for you? Because that is what you really need to develop, is that muscle where you can really be discerning and you can really have the understanding of when something doesn't feel in alignment and when something does feel in alignment. And that is what is really important. That's why I really wanted to make this video, because you hear me talk a lot in my videos about, when I'm talking about the astrological energies, I talk a lot about, always do what's in alignment with you. And some people don't really know how to do that. Some people don't have that understanding of, intuition and how does that feel? How does that really show up? Another thing you can really do is start to pay attention to how you're feeling during situations. So how do you feel when you're talking to certain people, or when you're in a certain space or environment or situation? Having the awareness of how you are feeling, and then of course journaling after, but also like having the awareness to how you're feeling in certain moments. So how and what that looks like for you, what that means for you. So when you start to pay attention to these little things and start to pay attention to these feelings and how it feels for you during certain situations, that's another way that you can start to kind of have the understanding and realize, what certain feelings mean for you. Another thing you can really do is, I have a little bit of a rebellious streak. And so what I would do is start testing my intuition too. When I would get these little intuitive nudges or downloads or messages, saying, do this or don't do this, I would do the opposite just to see if my intuition was right. Now, of course, you want to use your own judgment. Don't ever do anything unhealthy, but you can test your intuition just to see if your intuition was right. This is another way that you are going to build that self-trust and build that trust with your intuition, where you're trusting that gut feeling, where you're trusting your intuition. Another thing that you really want to pay attention to is, after you've got that intuitive hit, that intuitive download, that intuitive message, or that intuitive feeling, and you're journaling, you're kind of documenting it, you're keeping track, you're having the awareness, you are writing down your feelings and everything else. If you're making choices and decisions based on that, you want to pay attention to the synchronicities. You want to pay attention to what is coming in afterwards. If you're doing what is in alignment with you and you're following your intuition, what is showing up for you? What is just naturally kind of showing up on your path? You want to have the awareness to pick up on these synchronicities. I'm going to make another video about synchronicities, because there can be so many different synchronicities, and I think we all experience them every day, but it's having the awareness to pick up on them, because sometimes they're not as big as we think they are, or as we think they should be. And so having the awareness to pay attention to the synchronicities after you've made a choice, or after you've done something that's in alignment with you, is also key. That will also show you that the decision that you made was in alignment with you. Pay attention to how you feel afterwards. Now, when you're making choices, or you're doing something that is in alignment or not in alignment with you, this is where it can become tricky. I think a lot of people that are just starting this journey off struggle with being discerning with intuition or paranoia. And so doing all of the above things that I told you about, journaling and paying attention to those feelings, this can definitely strengthen that, where you eventually start trusting your intuition and realizing that it's not paranoia. So you're able to kind of be a lot more discerning once you strengthen that muscle. But only you know what is best for you. And so paying attention to how you feel when you make a decision, when you make a choice that is in alignment with you, it can show up as, your heart just warming up, your tingles all over your body, or something just clicks. It just feels right. And where we can kind of self-sabotage ourselves is when we second guess that, because we don't have that trust within ourselves and we need that validation from outside of ourselves. And so by doing that first thing that you felt, like when something happened, How did you feel instantly? Before your ego kicked in, how did you feel? This is going to, usually that is what is in alignment with you, before you start questioning it. So start paying attention to that first feeling that you feel when you are in a situation or when you're interacting with somebody or when you are making, some type of a decision. Doing these certain practices daily where you have the awareness of how you feel, what is showing up for you energetically when you are in situations or connecting with other people. When you have this awareness and you start journaling about it, you will slowly start to build that trust within your intuition. You will slowly start to understand how all of this really shows up uniquely to you, because we can also check out your moon sign placement. So we all have a birth chart for those of you that are not aware, and you want to look at your moon sign. So your birth chart is based on your date, time, and place of birth. You want to look at the moon sign placement. So the sign that your moon is in, and any aspects to your moon. So this can really show you how to use your intuition, how your intuition shows up for you. This can show you energetic blockages with your intuition. And this can also show you your innate abilities, your psychic abilities, your intuitive abilities. So using your moon sign can definitely help, and understanding your moon sign can definitely help in understanding your intuition. Video helped you. If you align with my energy and enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and let me know in the comments below what you think, and even other techniques or even techniques that you've used that has helped you with your intuition and strengthening that intuitive muscle so that it can help other people as well, because there are a lot of people that are new to this, that don't understand it, but that are ready to learn. And so I will connect with you in the next one.